Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogens. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Oh, yeah. Good morning, everybody. How are you all doing? What is going on? Why does my sound like that? Not quite sure. But nonetheless, we shall continue and pursue on, because today, everyone, good morning. It is Thursday, February 23rd, and today is National Tile Day, National Toast Day, National Chili Day, National Dog Biscuit Day, Gretchen. That's right. Make sure that they get their snacks. And, of course, we know what Gretchen's going to be baking up later because it's National Banana Bread Day. That's right. Thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. We're live every Monday through Friday on YouTube and audio only on Clubhouse. And if you are joining us in Clubhouse, you can also participate in the show by raising your hand if you have a brief comment on the story most recently presented. Also, too, use that little QR code up there in the top right hand of your screen to find where we all live here on the internet. Yes, that is right. But without further ado, we're going to kick it off this morning with the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte. That's right. When he's out in the streets doing dope dad shit, you can find him with a car seat in the back of his whip, and probably even one of those little diamond signs that people used to have in the 80s that said baby on board. That's right, driving around the hood looking good. That's right, is the dope dad himself, Rico Lamitte.
Everybody, thank you for that another illustrious introduction, Jason. So my story today, let me make sure this on. Sorry, my short story today is coming from several sources, but I got the majority of it from Los Angeles Times, and it has been 551 days since the bulk of entrepreneurs in Costa Mesa, California, paid their dues in hopes of what seemed to be the best opportunity left in Southern California to launch a retail cannabis business. That's right. Nearly 2 years later, new laws have been passed, new leadership seated, and they'd rather give out free flight vouchers and partial refunds just to move forward in the right direction, reneging on promises made in a time nobody really remembers. In an attempt to clear what it's calling a processing backlog plaguing the city's development services department, Costa Mesa City Council members Tuesday voted 6-0 to authorize a refund of licensing and permitting fees to 45 applicants that have been waiting since August 2021 for conditional licenses. Aspiring retailers who've spent hundreds of thousands over a period to operate legally will soon be offered a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to recoup some of those losses, should they choose the tried and true method of pulling out. The council says it has allocated roughly 25% of time and personnel resources toward reviewing 63 retail applications, despite only 14 permits being issued in the time period. Applicants voluntarily choosing to withdraw will be entitled to a full refund of Costa Mesa's $18,499 conditional use and $19,732 cannabis business fees charged for permits, and estimated $866,048 collected is on the table from cases that have yet to go before Planning Commission for approval. The move comes after an announcement by Costa Mesa officials that they'll be revisiting the 2021 retail cannabis ordinances drafted that failed to place a cap on the number of dispensaries and place no distance buffers between them. Council members say processing the applications is taking up too much staff time and placing a, quote, chokehold on other priorities. Specifically, the implementation of newly passed gentrification bill, Measure K, which would allow the development of housing in commercial and industrial areas while keeping residential neighborhoods intact and revitalizing commercial corridors. In his best impression of a blackjack dealer offering insurance to a table full of wary gamblers, Costa Mesa Mayor John Stevens said he'd prefer anyone willing to bow out do so now before the council potentially revises its approval process. Local Karen and noted prohibitionist Shelley Walsh said that she supports the city halting the application process, saying it has created such a glut and logjam in the city. If it is taking up 25% of the city's time, that means people who want permits to remodel their houses, Measure K, all this stuff is on the back burner. We are the residents, and we should be the recipients of what we pay for. Mayor Stevens, who's grown bored with the whole cliche cannabis movement, agreed. The 14 lucky winners of licenses are good enough for him, and it's time to move on, is what he said. Our focus is shifting elsewhere. I think it's fair to those who did invest in Costa Mesa the opportunity to recoup at least part of their investment if it did not work out. Well, there you have it, folks. 14 retailers who've spent God knows how much on the opportunity to sell weed in one of the richest counties in California, essentially being offered participation trophies for their efforts. Sounds a bit white to me, but I'm interested in how the rest of y'all feel. What about you, Jason? What's this sound like to you?
I mean, this to me just sounds like the best way to escape out of lawsuits and a whole trove of lawsuits.
They're not going to escape out of lawsuits from this, dude. Like people have paid like that much. They went through the process. It was the law. It was given. It was open season. Like, okay, we are going to do this. Give us your money. Start prepping your business. 2 years later, hey, we have new people in here. We're not going to allow any of these licenses to move forward. We're going to change the rules. Here's your fees back. You spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably millions for some of them, already prepping your business over 2
Cut it out. No one spent millions.
This is Costa Mesa, dude. Yes, you have.
No one spent millions.
It's Orange County, fucking California, dude. Yes,
Stop
you have.
It. No, not by.
How have you not? If
did you have to have
equity applicants in Los Angeles who spent hundreds of thousands of dollars?
I'm sure that they did because they had to have the real estate in order to be able to apply. But that was not the case with this Costa Mesa situation.
It's 2 years. You've hired staff. You've hired how many
staff if you haven't opened. You may have hired consultants. Yes, you've hired consultants. You have not hired staff. Yeah, you've hired staff. You got a lawyer. You got a lawyer. You know what I mean? You got yeah, you're C-suite, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of them are necessarily hired until you actually start working.
I guarantee you plenty of them have spent over $1 million on this. This is Orange County.
I'm sorry.
I'm not buying
Time out. I don't understand this. So they can't process paperwork. So they're like, here's 14. Your money back.
Yeah, 14 applications have been processed in 2 years in Costa Mesa. And now they're saying, we're not processing any. It's causing a logjam. It's wasted too much of our time. We're moving in a different direction. Here's your fees back that you paid us 2 years ago while you were waiting on all this to move forward. So,
did they pay interest on that?
No, they're not paying interest.
They should pay interest. They should pay a normal interest on what the city money that they held on to during that time. They should pay them back their money back with interest. But I think this is seriously the way to get out of a lawsuit for a municipality.
I don't think it's like, hey, get out of a lawsuit at all. They're gonna get sued by everybody for this shit.
I don't think they will. Because also too, a lot of the people that were going for these licenses are already operational in Costa Mesa in regards with manufacturing and distribution businesses. So I don't see any lawsuits coming down the
Like,
pipeline. People are just going to take their money back and go on their merry way and try to reapply later on.
you saying a lot of people? Like how many is a lot of people? Do you have an exact
12?
Yeah,
12.
Question.
12
Stop.
12 of the 45 who haven't gotten anything.
Has Costa Mesa said how many license holders they want to have if they've only processed
No.
14? It's not a large area.
There was no cap in the beginning. Yeah, there was no cap.
It's not that they made a cap, but they made a cap based off where these could be as far as a land use is considered, and so the amount of places that they could be was very limited in regards to how many would ultimately open in the city.
Yeah, there was no cap on licenses, and they never put a distance rule in between the dispensaries. Somehow, I would like to see those 14 people who did get their licenses. Somehow they got their licenses, and the rest of them, hey, it's a crapshoot. You can take this insurance. You can take this insurance policy and get a little bit back, or you know what? We might cut the whole thing off and have no more licenses going forward.
I think this city could start a show on how to evade a lawsuit, and I think this would be the first episode in it.
I think there's gonna be
I don't know where you're coming from with the lawsuit stuff. Frankly, I think the city should just keep the money and tell them all to piss off. I mean,
yeah,
I think they could totally get away with that. I mean,
they totally could.
Oh, yes. I agree with
municipalities
that. Yes.
Don't deal with this. So it's nice, I guess, that they're trying, but it just whatever. It just seems silly.
I think it's unprecedented.
The whole thing is dumb.
I think it's an unprecedented move for them to offer the refund, but at the same time, like dude, like you can take this money, but if you take this money, you can't sue us. If
exactly.
Money, they're trying to get out of that fucking situation. Like, why the fuck would you take $40,000 back?
I'm trying to understand what you think people can possibly sue for. Well, I don't understand what you guys think they can sue for. When you're going through this application process, that's how it goes.
No, this was the law.
What's the law?
The law was
Tell me the law.
It was a city ordinance. It wasn't a law. It was not a voted. It's not a voted thing. It was a city ordinance.
What do you mean? Say it again.
It was a city ordinance. It was not a law in the sense that it was voted on by the people. This was something that was created by the city council and a process that this. No,
it was voted on.
Costa Mesa did not have a vote and say to allow for stores. That's not the case. The city took the initiative to do that. To create this and I believe, if I'm correct, there was a trade-off that they did with the city of Santa Ana and the city of, and when Costa Mesa was going to allow retail stores, that's when Santa Ana said, okay, we're going to allow for consumption lounges, and that's why there's consumption lounges in Santa Ana.
No, I just think it's crazy because nobody in Orange County wanted these dispensaries until they saw the money that was drummed up by Santa Ana. Santa Ana is, as you know, Jason, it's the only
city with licensed dispensaries in all of Orange County.
Right. And they only allowed that because Santa Ana was damn near all Mexican, and it was all like construction sites at the time. And then you see all of these dispensaries drummed up all of this fucking money, and here come the rest of white ass fucking Orange County, like, oh, we want to have these too. And then you have a bunch of Karens, like this woman excuse me, I'm saying Karens because she is a fucking Karen, and you can look at her profile. I googled this woman's name and everything. All she has is anti-pot everything. Not in my backyard. No, we do not need marijuana anywhere in Orange County. That is her. Period.
So you're saying all these dispensaries were turned down because of this one woman?
Not just because of her, because that's their constituency. They got pushback from a bunch of people saying like, oh, we don't need these. 14 is enough. You guys let 14 through already. We don't need any more. And then you have new people got in to see it, and they're like, oh, well, you know what? Maybe we don't have to go forward and process any of these licenses. We don't need to mind any of these people's time. Fuck that. It's been 2 years. We're moving in a new direction.
I think if Costa Mesa decided that, all right, whatever, for whatever reason, that they want to cut it off and they're done at 14 licenses, that's their prerogative. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I don't see at all how these people have any grounds to sue them whatsoever, just because Costa Mesa now decides that this is how they're going to run their system. And now if they, put in place and they only awarded licenses to like one MSO and one MSO is 14 dispensaries, then I think you have somewhere that you could sue and say this is bullshit. But if random 14 different folks have their licenses,
different people,
and Costa Mesa says we're done at 14 and we're even willing to give your money back, I don't see how at all you think that people have the grounds to sue them. But this is America and people sue for everything. But I don't understand.
And it is the reddest
they have no hope
county.
of winning.
It's the reddest county in the state.
Yes,
You
they
better
are.
believe there's gonna be
Doesn't
you better believe all of them are suing.
It's the last beacon of freedom
all
in
right,
California.
Great, they can
Last
sue,
beacon.
but I don't think they have a chance in hell. I think it's up to the unless
richest
they can
county,
prove for a reason
Marin
of
County.
why they've been
Marin
denied a license. But just to say we're done processing licenses, I don't think that's a grounds to sue. I don't get it.
They didn't say that though.
But
They
then
didn't
again,
say that.
I'm not an attorney.
They're stringing people along in Orange County. You don't fucking do that. You get sued for that shit.
Hold on, we have a guest
Good
with us
luck.
today. We have Lance from Blackleaf, and first smoke of the day. Shout outs to Lance Harman. Lance, do you have any thoughts on this?
I want to know where the real issue is, right? It's like, is the real issue that they don't have enough people, or they're good with the amount of money they brought in, or they just don't feel like assigning more people to it? Like, where's the stranglehold on this? Is it that they're okay with the amount of money and this is enough dispensaries? It's too many that like the people coming and the it's too much already, or is it that they don't have enough people? Like with LA, it's like they barely send people out. If you look at the system in Colorado compared to Los Angeles, it's night and day. Like in Colorado, there's people showing up every month to facilities going over numbers, metric, this and that. Like, is it that they don't have enough people? Because they have the money. All they have to do is charge for more licenses.
I think it's because they fucked up. I think it's because they fucked up and they didn't put a cap on those licenses. And you see, like, that shit's about to turn to fucking, it's gonna turn to fucking Los Angeles. We don't want that shit.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that part, Rico. The fact that they got the 14, they're getting pushback from the city. They're like, okay, hey, you know what? Let's see how this shapes out. We're allowing for the 14 to operate, and let's see how they shake out. And we're not going to allow anybody in. And the city has the right to do that. And so
they should have done that 2 years ago instead of fucking letting this shit. They knew that shit was going to happen, dude.
No, they didn't.
They knew.
Stop it. We got to keep it moving, though. We got to go to an ad. We'll be right back, guys.
At True Classic OG, we live by one motto: stay true. We stay true to our legacy cut of True OG that's always fresh, piney, gassy, and delicious. We represent the spirit and hustle and diversity of our great city of Angels, and we stay true to the spirit of this plant, doing everything in-house to ensure that you get the highest quality and consistency with every batch. And that's what made us LA's favorite OG. True Classic OG. Stay true, Los Angeles.
He is the cannabis industry's longest continuously operating retailer and also a huge fan of the governmental switch. Coming to the state next, y'all know who it is. It's the man, the myth, the legend, the cannabis industry's very own Kaiser Brose, Jason Beck.
Oh, yeah, Rico. Good morning. I hope everyone is having an amazing day because guess what? It's Thursday. We're almost at Friday, you guys. We just have 48 hours left. But I'll tell you what, today I have a bit of good news. And, Gretchen, I think you're going to find this a little interesting because an Alaska court system rule change will remove hundreds of marijuana convictions from Courtview, which is the court system that they have in Alaska. On May 1st, the Alaska court system will remove the marijuana possession convictions of about 750 Alaskans from Courtview, the state's online database of court cases. The Alaska Supreme Court announced the move in an order signed on January 31st by the court's 5 justices. The action, first publicized Sunday by the Alaska Landmine, follows years of similar unsuccessful legislative efforts to join a nationwide trend. In a quote, "I'm glad that the Supreme Court has ordered this," said Senator Scott Kawasaki, Democrat from Fairbanks. "The records will still be available for inspection at courthouses and will be discoverable by a formal criminal background check, but they won't be easy to find for the general public. The removal covers only people who were 21 or older when they committed the offense of possessing an ounce or less of marijuana. The conviction can't be associated with another crime." Nancy Mead, general counsel for the Alaska court system, declined an interview request on behalf of the Supreme Court justices who approved the new order. Meade said the charge originated with the administrative staff and was considered by the justices under normal procedures. In a quote, "Given that marijuana has been legal for 8 years, it appeared to the Supreme Court that this was an appropriate time not to have the court said that this was an appropriate time not to have people, as I say, suffer the negative consequences that can come from having your name posted on CourtView because the conduct is considered legal right now," she said. As states legalize adult use cannabis cultivation and use, they also are considering whether to expunge, seal, or otherwise obscure the criminal records of people who were convicted of marijuana-related crimes before legalization. A criminal record could prevent someone from getting a job or housing, and obscuring marijuana records may prevent that problem for people convicted of nonviolent marijuana offenses. In another quote, "A lot of folks in my district, they have these barriers that are put in place, and a simple rule change, policy change, legislation could change it for their entire lives," said Representative Steve Wright, a Republican from Anchorage. In 2019 alone, Illinois, New Hampshire, Nevada, and Washington all passed legislation obscuring marijuana-related convictions. Altogether, 41 states have some form of legalization, according to the National Conference of State Legislatures, and Alaska isn't one of those states. Despite a bipartisan push last year in 2022, the state house voted 30-8 to approve a bill to conceal marijuana convictions from CourtView and criminal background searches, but the measure failed to pass the Senate before the legislative session ended. A similar bill will also be proposed by Senator Mike Shower, Republican from Wausalia. Wright introduced the bill last year and already has 5 Democratic and independent co-sponsors. He said on Tuesday that he is still considering whether the bill is needed and a law may be necessary, he said, in order to prevent a future court from reversing the rule change. Senator Loki Tobin, Democrat from Anchorage, said her office is also considering a bill of its own. In addition to providing more surety, a bill could reach further than a simple court rule change. The court system is in charge of CourtView, which allows it to exclude marijuana convictions without a state law under Administrative Rule Number 40. It already excludes more than a dozen categories of items, such as stalking, domestic violence, protective order requests, and it can't change the rules for criminal background checks, which Wright's bill would also cover. That bill has yet to receive a hearing, but it's identical to the one that failed to pass last year, and officials of the Department of Public Safety said as many as 8,500 cases would need to be examined to determine whether they are covered by that bill. Well, I'll tell you what, this to me sounds a lot like what Joe Biden did with his pardons. Pretty much is just taking it out of court, and only a few people are going to benefit, but you know what, good for them, because they're going to have a brighter tomorrow. And this is Jason Beck reporting for High at 9 News. What do y'all think about this?
I think it's dumb.
You think
dumb,
Gretchen?
If they really care about people's records and giving them a better opportunity in life, expunge the records, don't hide them. This whole thing is dumb.
You don't think it's the first step to expungement?
No first step. Jesus Christ, just get it fixed. This is just silly. Silly. Freaking Alaska.
Freaking Alaska. It's a baked Alaska, isn't it?
This is nuts.
It's halfway in.
We lower 48 people. We don't know any better. So
it's halfway in.
Alaska is the true last bastion of freedom in America, Jason.
Oh man. You said it's halfway in, halfway out, Lance?
Yeah, I think it's basically like a step in the right direction, but they still want the money. It's all
just kind of like the pullout method.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Right? And now they're like, okay, well, if you want to expunge a couple $1,000, you get it expunged. But it comes. Why would we give them that for free?
I think this is going to help people mostly in regards with finding housing. In regards with finding housing. because it's saying that the court records, you can search it as just a normal person, and I'm willing to bet that a lot of landlords will use that in order to see if people have different convictions before they rent to them.
I think
either way, stupid.
I agree with you 100%, Gretchen.
Thank you, Rico Lamitte.
This is stupid.
Whatever.
Stupid.
You guys are all haters.
How are we haters on this?
I think it's good news. Anytime, people are getting, freed up from past stuff. You know what I mean?
Jason,
They're not getting freed up, Jason. This is just all bullshit.
They're getting taken out of this.
Stop it.
Get some
Jason.
help.
Get some help.
They're getting taken out of the system.
They're not getting taken out of the system. This again is your lack of understanding.
It's straight up said that they're getting taken out of the court record system. That's a system. That's a system.
They're getting taken out of one program. Are you kidding me?
No,
if I was a landlord who really cared, I would figure it out. I would find a way to see if people had a record if I really cared.
You'd hire someone.
You're just nuts. If you really want to help people, take away their conviction. Maybe do a pardon like good old Joe asked them to do.
Like who?
Joe, Uncle Joe.
Joe Biden. Joe
Biden. What were you saying, Lance?
I agree with Troy. Expungement is held like a gem in the chat. You notice, even when proven wrong, even when they want to go back on their thing, they'd rather just give you half.
Yeah.
We'll take this off, but let's not fully, do them right.
Just stick it.
Oh, hold on a second. Oh shit, we have Gary from Florida coming up in the clubhouse audience. What do you have to say about this, Gary, real quick?
Come with it, Gary.
Come on, Gary. There we go. Unmute yourself, Gary. Come on, Gary. Gary, you unmuting, Gary? We're gonna have to keep it going if you can't unmute, Gary.
Gary.
Oh man, you got the bump. Rico. Oh, hold on, Gary. There he is. Gary, what do you got to say on this?
Yeah, sorry, I'm driving. I couldn't find the goddamn mute button.
No worries.
I'm coming back from Tallahassee. I got to get home fast so I can get into an acid wash to get it off of me. But
acid.
They actually have a bill right now for level 2 background checks where they're including medical cannabis cards as being searched. So if you have a medical cannabis card, most likely in Florida, if this passed, they say it's going to, you will be refused a level 2 background check and everything that it can entail.
I thought there's Alaska.
Hold on, you'll be refused a level 2 background check. What does that entail? A level 2 background check?
In Florida, if you have a level 2, they check your fingerprints, they check to see for prior arrests, and you need this even just to volunteer at a school, or get a job, or get an apartment in many cases. It goes with federal records, but they're going to check the state records. They're going to see if you have a medical card. If you have a medical card, they'll refuse your level 2 background check and everything that entails. So that's, I think it's a breach of privacy in the first place. It's unnecessary in the second place, and it's going to block people from a lot of different jobs.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Gary. We appreciate it. We got to keep it moving, though. Oh, where did you go? Oh, yeah, there you are. Oh, yes, that's right. She's a political strategist by day and a baker by night. True female multitasker who loves to make the sausage on Capitol Hill. That's right. She's the founder of Panoptic Strategies and our very own Washington insider. Taking off the apron and throwing it on her dogs. It is none other than the Gretchen Gailey.
Good afternoon, Jason. I actually have some real good news about Republicans, unlike that silly Alaskan story you just told. My headline is coming from Marijuana Moment, everybody's favorite publication, especially Sean Kiernan. GOP congressional lawmakers tout poll showing Republican voters back federal marijuana legalization. 3 Republican members of Congress are celebrating the results of a new poll showing that more than 2/3 of likely 2024 GOP presidential primary and caucus voters support federally legalizing marijuana so that states can make their own decisions on the issue. The survey released today by the Coalition for Cannabis Policy, Education, and Regulation found that 68% of respondents back ending federal marijuana prohibition. There was majority support across age, gender, educational, and religious groups. The overall level of backing for reform has increased by 10 points from a similar poll the group conducted a year ago. The new survey from CPAIR, which is funded by several alcohol and tobacco companies, included a separate question similarly finding that 70% support allowing individual states to decide whether cannabis will be legal in their state. GOP lawmakers who have championed marijuana reform in Congress are welcoming the result. According to Representative Dave Joyce, who's co-chair of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, said, the polling is clear. Federal cannabis prohibition is in direct contradiction of the overwhelming will of the American electorate, including a notable majority of conservative voters. I hope more of my colleagues on both sides of the aisle will heed the call of their constituents and join me in working towards a safe and effectively regulated legal marketplace that respects the rights of the over 40 states that have enacted some varying degree of legality. Continued inaction is no longer tenable. Representative Brian Mast of Florida, who is another Cannabis Caucus co-chair, said that the survey results weren't surprising. At its core, cannabis is a state issue, and that's what I'll continue to advocate for. Common sense federal policy that lets 50 states decide on 50 solutions that are best for their constituents. And Jason's favorite girlfriend, Representative Nancy Mace, who filed a comprehensive marijuana legalization bill in the last Congress called the States Reform Act, said it appears the only place where cannabis reform is unpopular is Washington, D.C. It is time we give the states the power to make decisions around cannabis without fear of federal consequences. The provisions found in the SRA strike a balance between what voters are asking for and what regulatory framework exists for other industries. The ball is in our courts as members of Congress to bring this legislation across the finish line. A third question in the new survey found that 52% of GOP voters are more likely to support Republican presidential candidates who back ending federal cannabis prohibition. At the same time, however, it also shows that marijuana ranks second to last in a list of issues that voters may consider when deciding whether to vote for a candidate. The poll involved 600 likely 2024 Republican presidential primary and caucus voters over the age of 21, and it was done just a week or so ago. I think this is good news. I think that Jason should forward the results to his boy Trump, his hidden lover DeSantis, and why not send it on to Nikki Haley? Maybe they will start to care about cannabis. This is Gretchen for High at 9 News.
Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace is
oh yeah, that's right. That is right. Yes, thank you so much, Nancy Mace. Brian Mast, true patriot for our country. Oh yeah, that's right. It's gonna be an elephant stampede coming through because Republicans are backing cannabis.
So Nikki Haley?
We'll see what Nikki Haley does.
You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get rid of all the boof and we're gonna make cannabis taste great again.
No.
Well, we'll see.
Oh yeah. What do you think about this, Lance? It's gonna be tough.
There's a lot of mids out there.
There's a lot of mids. I mean, you're originally from Florida, right, Lance?
Yeah.
So I'm really interested. You know, it's a full Republican state over there right now. Like, I don't think there's a single Democratic congressional member in the entire state.
Full-time red jack move.
Yeah, that's right.
They're going to be with the money, but it's always going to go sideways, right? It's like, the Republicans will, and I'm a Republican. I registered, right, or whatever, but this is the issue. The issue is that, look at the law, look at the cannabis laws in Florida. It's the most difficult to enter the market. 30-year nursery, 27-year nursery, right? It has all these weird laws, and then it comes out how they come in place, right? Money getting moved in the back channels. So, like, yes, they will tax it and they'll allow it and they'll be with it, but it's also going to be corrupted somehow. And it's tough because the money always wins. So if they think, well, we can take a couple million, or let's get involved in it on the backside. So we'll make it 30 to 27-year nursery you have to own. And then if you come to find out that their families owned nurseries for 30 years in Florida and they have 20 of them. Oh, just so happens that those are the nurseries that are the first up in line, and now they have a brand. It's somehow corrupted. I'm with it, and I think they should allow cannabis and they should tax it, and we should be able to have interstate commerce, at least with the states that agree. But the thing is it will be corrupted. So we have to go into it knowing this. Like, it's just the way it is. Look at every state look at what New York's about to fall in line the same way. Yes, they're allowing some shops, but you're going to see when with big money comes big, the hurdles just start to kind of move to the side. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Well,
Yeah.
and I think the other major takeaway that we need to remember as folks in the industry from this poll, frankly, is the last question that they asked, where they said that cannabis is the next to last issue that voters care about when they head to the polls. We need to make people care a lot more about cannabis and make sure that lawmakers and these guys running for president understand that cannabis is going to be the issue that we vote on. They need to understand that this is an issue they need to take seriously. People need to reach out to these candidates and say, all right, I love the economy. I love all this other stuff. You know what can boost it? Cannabis. Let's make them understand that cannabis is not just about people smoking and get a high. This has so many aspects that it will relate to all our lives. It has so many ways that it can impact veterans. It impacts our medicine. It impacts infrastructure. I mean, there's so many ways that cannabis is more applicable in this country that people are not understanding, especially these people. And as part of the industry, we need to educate them on why this is so important.
I agree.
People
Gretchen,
stop
I'm
fighting.
agreeing
We've
with you
had
all
too
day,
many allowances.
Well, because I'm smart, Rico Lamitte. You're paying attention.
Oh my god.
Is that what that is?
It's something.
That's cute. That's cute. That's cute.
I got a little something, Jason Beck.
That's all right. That's all right. Yes, she does. We got to go to a quick commercial though. We're gonna be right back.
Yeah. The thoughts and opinions and shade thrown on High 9 News are those of the individual speakers, not those of any other speaker or his followers. The statements made do not constitute legal or accounting advice, and our speakers make no representation regarding the legal status of any substance in any country, area, territory, or any authorities. The views expressed in this room do not establish any fiduciary responsibility or relationship. Our sponsors do not imply or constitute any endorsement by us or the expression of any opinion whatsoever on the part of any speaker on stage. And if you are an easily offended person, maybe you should open up an application in Costa Mesa, California.
Do you want to grow some of the best weed in the world? Then you must start with the best genetics in the world. Go to www.dnagenetics.shop to order regular, feminized, or autoflower beans. All of your favorite DNA genetics cultivars such as Kosher Kush, Skywalker Kush, and oh yeah, Chocolate Truffle Shuffle. Boasting more cannabis awards for their award-winning genetics than any other company in the world. Remember to go to www.dnagenetics.shop to see why our terps don't lie. Oh, yeah. Coming up next, that's right, we have our guest speaker today. That's right, Lance Harman, the founder of Black Leaf, who just had his very first legal harvest in the California market. And this stuff will be on sale by 4/20. So you guys can all get some of this goodness in these little jars that I got. Oh, yeah. You can also find him on YouTube also, too, because he's also the co-host of a very popular show for cannabis people known as First Smoke of the Day, where they interview people and talk about cannabis and how they started and all kinds of other shit that they just randomly go into. That's right. Let's everyone give a warm welcome to my guy, Lance Hartman.
What up? Appreciate it. Love being here. My article goes the other way. We've had a lot of positive. Irish police seize more than 250 pounds of weed. Irish police on Monday seized more than 250 pounds of cannabis in an ongoing operation to combat organized crime in the Dublin area. Police in the Republic of Ireland announced this week that law enforcement officers seized more than 250 pounds of cannabis as part of an ongoing effort to target organized crime activity in Dublin. In a statement released on Tuesday, the Irish National Police Force said that the seizure resulted in the arrest of 2 men, so cracking down, who are being held pending further investigation. The seizure was carried out as part of an ongoing investigation related to a part of organized crime in the Garda campaign and target serious organized crime activity in Dublin region on Monday. Officers intercepted 2 vehicles in a suburb of a capital city, leading to the search of a house in a nearby Knocklin. The action led to the seizure of over 120 kilos of cannabis, which the law enforcement agency said estimated value on the street of over $2 million. And it goes on to say, police noted that 2 men in their 40s had been arrested in conjunction with the seizure of the illicit cannabis. The men are currently being held on suspicion of drug trafficking charges as the investigation continues. The weed seized in the operation has been sent to a laboratory for further analysis. The Garda publicized, which is the police, seizure on social media, noting in a Twitter post that the agency keeping people safe. But other users on the platform questioned the public safety value of the police operation. Safe from what? One Twitter user asked, there would have been a few lads heading to shops for munchies after a few joints. Do we really need to be that safe? Or do you think there's bigger problems and more serious crime that we should be kept safe from? People commenting on social media also push back on the estimated street value of the seized cannabis provided by law enforcement, suggesting the figure given is 10 times what the actual worth is. In Canada, where cannabis is legal, regulated, and taxed, it goes on to explain that would have been about a tenth of what they're charging them at. This week's seizure of illicit marijuana in Ireland comes amid a renewed debate over cannabis prohibition in the country. Late last year, a lawmaker known as Tichata Dalla, the member of Ireland's People Before Profit political party, proposed legalization that would legalize the possession of up to 7 grams of cannabis or 2.5 grams of concentrate. I hope the government can support this legislation and continue to timely. Different parts of the world are looking at different models which do not criminalize people and which take harm reduction approach. Basically, people are about to go to jail for a long time, and it's about to legalize. We have a videographer I work with for First Smoke of the Day, and he's actually based in Ireland. And so it's really interesting hearing from him. He works on a cannabis podcast, and then hearing about the cannabis market in Ireland and how they're really trying to legalize or decriminalize, probably a better way to put it. And at the same time, there's still huge busts going down. 250 pounds is not a small amount in Ireland. That's pretty hefty. It's very interesting. The cannabis is worldwide at this point, worldwide in large amounts. It's interesting. That my take is that I'd say 10 years, we're going to see, just like we see in the United States, we see state by state them legalizing. It's going to start going country by country. It's just going to be a wave. But yeah.
All right. And then you close it out by saying, this is Lance Harman for reporting for High and 9 News.
This is Lance Harman, First Smoke of the Day. Blackleaf reporting for High 9 News. High 9, baby.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Man, I'll tell you what, 250 pounds. I mean, that's only 2.5 boxes, Lance. You really think that's a lot of weed?
I think in Dublin, Ireland, it is. Yeah.
Well, we call that double up Ireland out there?
Ireland, they don't even have DUIs in Ireland.
Exactly. These guys are about to do some time for that, though. They're gonna,
hell yeah.
Do we know if these guys are members of the NRA at all?
Is it IRA? NRA?
You mean IRA?
Yeah, IRA. Excuse me, IRA. Yes.
Yeah, they're probably members of the NRA too.
All right, let's not go there. My hope for Europe is, frankly, that the EU adopts cannabis, and if that happens, then you're going to have 27 countries immediately that can go into the cannabis space, and that's how you move cannabis forward in Europe. You got to get the EU on.
I would beg to differ, Gretchen. I'd say the EU already has adopted cannabis because of the fact that if you are a patient in any country of the European Union, you can transport your cannabis throughout the entire European Union without threat of seizure or fines or anything else.
But the UK is no longer part of the EU.
That's right, because Brexit, baby. That's right. Break free.
Either way, I mean real legalization, Jason, not just I can transport my weed around town and no one's going to arrest me.
It's a big deal though in Europe. You know, you just hop on the Eurostar and you're out of there.
I don't know why you're so excited about these teeny tiny little movements today, Jason. It's like, I don't know what's going on with you.
Jason's all about the people today. the little people. No, but seriously, because Ireland is they're still part of the UK, right? Is that correct? Like post Brexit.
Ireland. I think Ireland is part of the EU, because even in this article, they valued it. I think you're confusing Ireland and Scotland, because Scotland is part of the United Kingdom.
I thought Ireland was too.
I mean, I'm not Google, bro, but I'm gonna assume that they're part of the.
In front of you.
Well, no, I'm. That's not what I do, bro. Cut it out. But I'm gonna tell you, I've flown into Ireland. And when I flew, I got onto a domestic flight that was taking me to Spain, or wait, no, it's taking me to Germany. And so I bet that it is in the EU. Also, this article referenced the currency of the valuation in euros, not in pounds. So yes, my final answer is that Ireland is part of the European Union.
Northern Ireland is still part of the UK. I think the rest of it is part of the EU.
It's not Northern Ireland. We're talking about regular Ireland.
Regular Ireland.
Do we have a real Irish person in the room that can speak to this?
Gretchen has red hair.
I am not Irish. Just because I have red hair does not make me Irish. I am Scottish. Get it right. Different countries.
So the Scots have red hair, and the Irish have what? They're just like Aryans. Is that what's going on here?
Oh God! You know what? Yeah, we're going to an ad after that one. Yeah. So keep it moving. Run that ad, please, Adam. Oh yeah. Oh man. You know what? So if you guys weren't triggered already, or I did the nice story first, just for all you guys. Okay.
It's a trigger warning for
but coming up next. Watch out! I wish you had a siren sound, because I'll tell you what, the Johnny Law is going to be coming for everybody in New York coming up soon, and the price of weed's about to be going up because Mayor Adams calls for crackdowns on illegal cannabis shops. That's right. Last June, Mayor Eric Adams gave New Yorkers a shock when he gave blessing to smoke more pot. He said, "Enjoy yourself, light up, but most importantly, spend some money. We want your money," he said during a speech at the Cannabis World Congress and Business event. I love that. Get the money, Adams. Of course he said that, because you want all that tax money. That's right. Adams said that he doesn't see a need for cracking down on anyone caught dealing ganja out of stores or in streets in the intern. Now, in a quote, "There needs to be a system of not heavy-handedness, but going in and explaining to the store that, listen, you can't do this. Give them a warning," Adams told reporters while attending a cannabis industry expo at the Javits Center in Manhattan. I think Gretchen was there. She loves the Javits Center. However, fast forward to the present day, and Mayor Adams is now calling for stronger laws to crack down on the growing number of illegal marijuana shops that have cropped up around New York City. The mayor's call comes in the wake of increasing violence at these illegal shops, with a murderer at a Harlem smoke shop over the weekend being just the latest in a string of violent incidences. Not to mention, he says they're targeting children with cannabis products, as referenced in my article the other day. One of the major issues that Mayor Adams has raised is how illegal cannabis products are being marketed and advertised to children. According to the mayor, these illegal shops are not only selling illegal cannabis, but they're also targeting young people by opening up near schools, and selling cannabis-laced gummy bears and other edibles. Oh man, that is just so crazy that he can say that. We're about up to 15,000 illegal cannabis shops, and it's not only that they're selling illegal cannabis, but they're targeting young people. They're opening near schools, Adams said. These children are waking up in the morning and going into the store, getting gummy bears that are laced with marijuana, and they are going to school and learn, ? And so that's why the mayor is calling for a crackdown on illegal cannabis shops. To combat the growing menace of illegal marijuana shops, the New York City Sheriff's Office has spearheaded a series of raids across the city, which have led to the closure of more than 100 illegal shops. However, Mayor Adams believes that more needs to be done to ensure that these shops do not continue to operate with impunity. In a quote, he says, "We need to be targeting those landlords that knowingly are renting the space," Adams said. "So we are going to be putting a package together just to deal with cannabis, so this does not get out of hand." I mean, I think it already kind of is out of hand, but who am I to call? Mayor Adams has also called for the stiffer penalties to be imposed on illegal cannabis dealers and the landlords who rent them space. He believes that the state's laws have made it easier for these illegal dealers to sell their products without fear of prosecution. I mean, this is almost hard to even read with a straight face, you guys. Sheriff's Office raids illegal cannabis shops, and the New York Sheriff's Office, which has been leading the charge in cracking down on illegal cannabis shops, has found numerous hidden compartments, fake food and drink containers, and other tricks being used to hide illegal drugs being sold in these shops. In a recent operation, the Sheriff's Office hit 8 locations on Staten Island and confiscated countless bags of contraband. Officials issued both civil and criminal summonses, and officers found secret compartments hiding illegal cannabis and tobacco products. Mayor Adams hopes that the crackdown on illegal cannabis shops will send a message to other dealers that the city will not tolerate the targeting of children or the selling of illegal drugs, which his proposed package of laws, Mayor Adams is determined to ensure that the legacy market in New York City does not continue to thrive and endanger the lives of young people. All for the kids. All for the kids. That's right. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I'm going to leave it alone.
I feel like this is a Mayor Adams after
You're on mute.
Oh, I'm muted?
No, he's not.
What are you talking about, Jason? Get your hearing game
Jason,
up.
get your headphones working.
I know, man. Like, I feel like this is Mayor Adams completing the complete bait and switch. And when he's pointing to his previous comments, his response is this.
I was acting.
I mean, does he really think that these head shops are just marketing to kids, that they're opening up in near schools? I mean, you're in New York City, like you're near schools, just everywhere you are. It doesn't matter where you are. That is just such hypocrisy to me.
I told y'all from the beginning, man. Everybody was all hyped up. Oh, Mayor Adams this, Mayor Adams that. He's cool. He's gonna let us do what the fuck we want. He wants us to have grows on top of every high rise in the city, and he opened up broken windows policies. I'll say it a million fucking times over. The Rudy Giuliani era is back, and it just has a new face, and it just happens to look like ours. He's a cop.
Well,
he's a
actually, cop. For once, I agree with Rico Lamitte. People seem to forget Adams' background in law enforcement, and for anyone to think that he was not going to crack down is just crazy. Of course, this man is going to start cracking down on this stuff. And full disclosure, yes, I am the Chief Strategy Officer of the CWCB Expo, coming to you again June 1st through the 3rd at the Javits Center in New York. Y'all should come.
Well, will Mayor Adams be releasing similar statements there? Can we anticipate
I hope not.
that?
You should have seen my head ready to explode when he said it the first time. People were making memes of me in the audience when he was like, "Go ahead, light up," and I was like, "No, you can't light up in the Javits Center. They're gonna kick us out."
No. I know. I'm saying, is he going to make? Is he going to make?
I am not going to divulge yet who is going to be our major guest appearances, but the mayor may make another appearance at the event. We shall see. But also,
cameras are on every street lamp in New York. You guys
Let me finish, Rico. Let me finish, Rico. I do want to clear up something that Jason Beck, in his love of the facts, added a 0 to the number of shops. It's not 15,000; it's 1,500. So let's get that right.
I mean, they can't really quantify it. That's just what they're putting out there. They
They're
can't
not
really
putting out
quantify.
15,000.
They can't. How many shops do you know that are
What is
actually
this?
operating in
Is
people's
this
apartments and not in
Newsmax, Jason
storefronts?
Beck? Have
Numbers
we
don't
become?
exist.
Are we being
I'm
aired
just
on
saying.
Newsmax right now?
I'm
I
just
don't know where
saying.
you're coming
I'm
up with
just saying.
this.
You know,
Numbers
Mr.
don't
tell the
It's all
truth.
about the children. You're no, it's 1,500.
The city. Hold on, you can't say it's 1,500 with a straight face because the city doesn't know. That's an estimation. They have no clue how many illegal stores are. And
So
I
what
wonder
the
if
hey?
these
Let's throw
100.
another 0
Hold
on
on.
there.
I
Go for
wonder.
it.
Hold on a second. I wonder
Lord.
how many of this 100 they're counting the Jungle Boys store that I talked about yesterday that's been raided 3 times and has reopened every single time. So I'm wondering if that counts for 2 or 3 or only 1 of the shops that they've closed down.
I would love to see your books, Jason, and your accounting efforts, because I think they are a little suspect. I don't know where you're coming up with this. But frankly, this is not a shock at all. And I think people should expect that Mayor Adams is going to crack down a great deal more on these shops. It's going to come. It's happening.
What do you think about what do you think about all this, Lance? I mean, all this New Yorkness, and can you find black leaf at a head shop in New York?
with California.
Small batch. But 420 in New York, we will be after first smoke. We're throwing an event. This will be probably the last great year for cannabis before they start to overregulate it and really come down on it. This is what happens, though, not in a negative way, but this is what happens when you give them the green light. When you say to New York, here's the green light, go ahead. And then, oh, hold on, we're going to get regulation and we're going to figure out the laws and we're going to figure everything out after the green light. Like, it's what we used to hear in Colorado when legalization happened. Like, how do you put the toothpaste back in the toothpaste bag? Like, you don't. That's it. You gave them the green light. And now industry that's always been booming, New York, always been booming, all import is now starting to cultivate their own and import 10 times what they were. So it's like you opened it up, you legalized it or decriminalized it to the point of where it was open use, open carry. And then now you want to regulate it. And then this whole article is basically a way to come down on it so that now we can charge money for everything. So like, it's the same thing that you see happen in like California where there's kids it could be in Halloween candy. It's like, really? And a lot of this stuff has been happening for 20. So that one instance where that did happen, that was 15 years ago. It happens no matter if there's 50 shops or one shop, the weed's still out there and people are using it. It's just regulators, every state makes almost the same mistakes all over again. Like as the state allows cannabis and then decriminalizes and then legalizes and then puts all these wacky ass laws that really don't make a lot of sense and then takes 3 to 5 years to figure it out while big business booms. And now the people who were legacy market try to get involved and it costs millions. It's the same thing that happens over and over and over. And you see no change from Colorado being one of the first states where we saw it happen. And they actually did a decent job looking back to now. Every state almost makes the same issue. And New York, with how big the industry, I think they always underestimate. I agree with Jason. There probably is 5,000 to 10,000 shops. They just don't, like Jason said, apartments. Does that count as a shop? Because man, people have been serving off the block for so long that they underestimate how big the weed industry is in New York. They 100% underestimate it. This 420, they'll get a picture. Because everybody's going to New York on 420. Like last year was insane. I've been to New York in 420 in Denver at the Capitol, smoking on the steps of the Capitol. When it legalized, I mean, we've been all over the world. Spannabis multiple times, Amsterdam for festivals. Nothing was like New York on 420. I've never been anywhere like that. You can just, it's like, oh, this is freedom. Like people are open movement, open sales, open carry. It's like California's secret sesh, except for it's in the middle of Washington Square Park and Central Park.
The original.
So they gave it the green, behind the big rock. Yeah.
I have a question for you, Lance, and for Jason. the mayor has said that he's asking for stiffer penalties because we all know, Jungle Boys are getting like $250 fine. What kind of penalty do you think would really get people to think twice? How much money does it have to be?
Hold on, Gretchen, it was a $50,000 fine that they received.
I'm talking about the tickets that they were issuing. That was $250.
My story yesterday was in reference to this Jungle Boy store that's across the street.
All right, regardless,
City
the
Hall.
question is still,
they've been fined $50,000.
How much money is a fine that would matter to you? How much?
I mean,
would it take?
it's the same statement of like, you've already said you can smoke weed on the street. So now you want to tell people, actually, hold on, it got too crazy. We're sorry. We want to issue you a ticket for $100 if we smoke. Like the last 2 years, people have been blowing clouds past cops, smoking all over New York. You walk down the road, there's smoke. So you've allowed that for 2 years and you said it was okay. Now you want to go back and start to charge people money for it. It becomes very tough. I've seen it in other states. It becomes a battle. You basically start to battle with the people because they're like, I have to pay $100. And then a lot of people will say, fuck it, $100. Okay, cool. $250. All right. Like New York they got a little bit of gusto in them. That's different than a lot of states. I think you just need to come up with what's the game plan? How are we allowing these retails? Where are we allowing cultivations? How are we going to do this? What state should we talk to basically mimic a lot of their stuff, and how is it working? The communication between these states, it's insane. How do you not, it'd be like if you're starting a restaurant and you're like, let's not talk to anyone who works in restaurants. Let's just figure it out ourselves. It's like, how does that make any sense? The ins and outs, the little, hey, we tried to do this, but this didn't work. This is too much tax, but this is too less. Oh, this is what your state already charges. Well, now we need to, it's like game plan this out, come out with the bill, the amendments, and then let it rock. I mean, it always goes back to the same thing. They're going to fumble it, and then they're going to try to charge after the fact. And regulate it.
They dangle this freedom carrot in front of us.
You know what it sounds like, Rico? It sounds like New York is doing a Costa Mesa.
It sounds like it, Jason. It sounds a whole lot like it. Gretchen, how do you feel about that? You're a fan of the government just taking back whatever the fuck they want to take back.
Hell yeah, screw it. No. And the fine, Jason, for selling marijuana in New York unlicensed is $250. Jungle Boys was fined for selling it to a minor. That's where the big money, I guess, hit them up. But I know $250 is nothing to these stores. So why even bother? I don't understand what is.
Yeah,
what's even the thought process behind a $250 fine? That was my speeding ticket last week in Phoenix.
I think it's a revenue generator for the city to be able to say that they're doing something to curb it, and at the same time still allowing it, and then creating an extra revenue stream by allowing it, even though they're telling the public that they're trying to do something about it.
I think it's just lip service. And before we close out, Jason, do you remember when the city of Los Angeles tried to say that they were going to do that shit out here? They said they're going to fine illegal operators $20,000 a day.
Hold on. They passed. Hold on a second. They passed a voter initiative to make it so that the city departments of water and power could go to a building and shut it off. Okay, they passed a voter-approved thing. Okay, then after all that, the city says they don't have the authoritative power to be able to shut off water and power to a building.
And what they do, they started raiding actual licensed shops.
Yeah, they focused all the enforcement on the regulated side and let everything else just roll. And it's basically, unless you get pulled over with a fucking box of peas, you're pretty much ready to go free.
A box of peas.
So you're saying there's absolutely no way to crack down on this stuff.
Exactly.
It's going to run rampant.
It is. Yeah. It's never going to go away. I told you, I've been saying that from the beginning.
You cut off one head of the trap, 18 grow, or 15,000 grow in its place.
You know how they did it in Amsterdam? You know how one of the interesting things in Amsterdam when we were out there that we learned was when we went out there, we were like, almost no one cultivates out here anymore. This was like the epicenter of like cultivation for a long time. And
well, you know why?
they shut down all the grow stores and made it basically contraband, almost illegal to have grow equipment, to where now you have to, it's like almost smuggling grow equipment is like how I got to figure out how to get the lights and like some of the growers that we linked with literally said, like, people will tell on me. Like, I have to go to a certain store and order like palm plants, and I have to years ago, United States, you know, they've definitely figured out ways to control it or constrict it. But I don't think in the U.S. things are too accessible. We have the interstate. I mean, and New York is just a beast.
It's a beast. And just on this real quick, Rico, I know we're about to wrap up, but Amsterdam started cracking down on all of the cultivators that were in Amsterdam, and because of unfavorable laws, they all moved to Spain, and that's why Spain is now what Amsterdam used to be in regards to cannabis culture. But I'll let you close out now.
Shout out to Spain. And a big thank you to all of you tuning in for another episode of High 9 News. You can catch us weekdays at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. A big shout out to our live audience members and online supporters giving us the feedback on the daily headlines of chaos known as the developing cannabis industry. Our vetted industry correspondent team from all over the global community bringing us a variety of perspective and adding your expertise and opinions to the conversation. The High at 9 production team, Cloud Media Partners, House of Fuego, and Jaja Simone over there holding things down in Clubhouse, keeping our AV struggles to an absolute minimum. And to the haters, go out there and get a job. Fucking lazy punks. Finally, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason that we show up and read these headlines every single day. We love you, and you know you get all of our affection. It has been Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. The show is over, and you've been blessed with today's top industry headlines. We hope that it was enough for you all to smoke on at least until tomorrow. Y'all know who it is. Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street, signing off here. And remember, when life gives you no place else to turn, you can always turn the fuck up. Take us out, Adam.